Peter McLernon, the difference between marketing and advertising.
Morning, Michael.
Look good. Good morning, Peter.
How are you?
Going good, thanks, mate.
Good.
And what a great show it was last week. We had lots of feedback, especially on how you kept your record keeping.
So detailed, mate, yeah?
Yeah.
We're giving all my secrets away.
I think someone put the king was in his castle counting all his money.
It was very, very good. You know, felt very comfortable. Giving away a few tips. Hopefully, it's going to help some people. You know, that, maybe just starting out. And
well, one of the things that came through was they said like you count your money, you're really careful, and you're doing your projections. But someone had said about marketing, they're going, they didn't quite get the difference between marketing and advertising, or marketing and sales. And that was one of the questions that came back for you.
Yeah, gotcha. So over the years, being in retail, I've done a lot of marketing of all different types. You know, so as I see it, there's marketing and there's advertising. So marketing, you're pushing a brand, or trying to get your brand as well known as possible. Whereas with advertising, you're advertising a particular product with a catch to it, 10% discount, come in, buy before the end of the month, that type of thing. So that's a motivator to purchase, whereas marketing is a motivator to purchase from someone or somewhere, And the two combined is the way to go, basically.
Do you find that people who start off in business don't understand the value of the marketing, just try to sell all the time or do the advertising all the time? They're missing that branding aspect?
Well, I think they're both important, but when you're starting out, you're really trying to make that sale, and probably it's not a bad thing. I think marketing comes over time. So when you've got the additional money to expend, then you get a kind of a march forward, But you shouldn't drop your marketing as well. So you do both, and you use all the different forums, So we were probably one of the first ones to really start using online advertising. And showing a bit of age here, but when it first came out, we had a pretty strong website. We were probably one of the first in Perth to have a really thorough online store, So AdWords was one of the things we picked up on pretty early. And there's this kind of push and pull between, do I put my money into online marketing or do I put it into the more traditional forms of advertising? And I've had a bit of both, or a lot of both. So maybe that's a subject we can discuss, and spend a little bit of time on. So in the kind of marketing side of things, I've done radio, newspaper, and television advertising, and for quite a while, that's where we were putting most of our money. We were advertising in the West on a Saturday and in the business pages because we sell business products. We're advertising mainly in the news and prime time on TV. And I always had the idea that you should advertise in prime time, even if the ads are more expensive and you have less ads. Instead of spreading yourself thinly over the whole night or into 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, just have one really good ad on Channel 7 News. And then with radio, what I did there was, people might remember me from 6IX and Johnny Young show. So what we did was we didn't spread ourselves across the day. We took over the morning show, and concentrated all of our spend there. So what we had was recorded ads using my voice, so it was recognisable, and we'd have, say, 3 or 4 15, 20-second ads using my voice for various products. And then every morning Johnny Young would call me, and I could be in Perth, I could be in China, or I could be anywhere, but it could be any time in the morning, wherever I was. But I'd take the call and we'd chat backwards and forwards about the business, what's happening that day and so on. It was just a kind of an interest thing, really.
So that chatting backwards and forwards, is that what you would determine as, you weren't selling it, so that's more your marketing?
That's right, So that was the marketing part of it, and the actual ads we were doing, we'd change up every week depending on what our specials were and so on, and use the same voice. So people would just automatically register that it was the person doing the interview was the same person selling the products, that kind of connection there.
Is it, when you say marketing, is this just for clarity? Is this where some people term it as branding? You were branding. You branded yourself as well as your business at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you're branding in both instances, aren't you? Because you use your business name when you're selling a product. So they're both branding. One's marketing, which is probably 100% branding, and the other one's 80% trying to sell something and 20% branding. But the two work together because the thing is that in your general branding, like the show I did on 6OX, I used to call the people that listen to that as an older age group. A lot of them in business or retired or have connections, you know, in business. So I used to call them my barbecue group because they, on the weekend, they'd be at the barbecue and there'd be 100 people, you know, say 20 people at the barbecue. Yeah. And someone would say, oh, I'm going to buy office furniture this week. And my barbecue man would say, oh, you should go to McLernon's. I hear him on the radio every morning or something like that, you know. So they're my barbecue people. So see, that's marketing really, I suppose, or branding, yeah. Yeah. Even today, a lot of people recognise the McLernon brand, you know, and a lot of people have done business with us in Perth, yeah.
It's interesting you said the barbecue. So basically what you're saying is if you make yourself interesting enough, people will then have a reason to talk about you at a barbecue. That's a great marketing aspect. Well,
you're first in mind, you know the old first in mind? So, you know, you think of products like, I'm not sure what it is these days, but maybe a luxury car or whatever, you know. The first thing, it used to be a safe car. So the thing was, what's the safest car on the road? And everyone would say Volvo in those days, you know, because Volvo advertised the safety side of their thing and made themselves number one in mind for their product, number one in mind for safety. So we wanted to be number one in mind for, you know, business products. So that person at that barbecue, when it came to business products of any kind, we were number one in their mind. So, you know, we've invaded their mind.
So when you were doing the marketing aspect and you're having a talk to Johnny Young, what type of things, you didn't talk about specials then, you were talking about something else, were you? Or just talking business in general?
Just business in general, you know, how's business going, where are you today, you know, what's happening, you know, just that kind of general conversation. But Johnny was very good at it, so obviously, you know, he's, you know, an expert at radio presenter and, you know, personality and so on. So Johnny made it very easy, just have a conversation basically, you know.
Do you find that when you have to switch from advertising to marketing, that is a key then that people can pick up on? Try and make your marketing more conversational?
Yeah. Well, what it is I think that if you've done your marketing properly, when someone sees your ad or they're looking for a product, right? So they're looking for office furniture. So they go to the internet and they put in office desk or something, right? Up pops three or four retailers. But what they see is McLernon's, or they've seen me on TV or they've heard me on the radio. So there's a connection made. I know that company, or I know that guy, or I've heard about these people, and they'll go to you, hopefully, you know, first because of your marketing, you know. So that's how the two connect, you know. People might look for you particularly because they've seen your marketing and advertising, so they search for you, or they're searching in general and your name pops up and they recall it, and therefore they pick you to, you know, to come and have a look at your products. Now, in marketing, as we all know, there's a funnel that looks like that. It's an inverted triangle, you know. Yeah. So we're not trying to sell. You know, if we were trying to sell Christmas presents in late December, you know, then everybody at the top of that triangle will be interested because they're all shopping for that particular thing at that particular time. But when you look at things like business products, you know, we've got to kind of condense down and get to the people that are really looking for business products at any one time. And there's not a huge market out there. So you're not looking for all these scattered. There's not a lot of point, you know, being on TV during a children's program or something, you know. It's obvious that you hunt in your territory that you know, so you advertise in a business program or whatever, yeah. So what you're trying to do is narrow the funnel down to get to as many people as possible, you know, the cheapest price, you know. And I think what I've worked out over the years is that these days we don't do any of the traditional type advertising.
Yeah.
Because as I see it, and it could be wrong because it's still, you know, we're only 20 years down the track, so you know, people could look back in 50 years and see them dead wrong. But you know, as I see it, people see you on TV, so that's your marketing, you know, side of things, right? But it's not as important as it used to be. So, you know, you'd be in the newspaper, you'd be on TV, you'd be on radio, but you have to be repetitive. So you've got to be on there quite often with the same message in the same place, so people see you time and time again, repetitive, you know. So it's quite a big spend to get to so many people at the top. But almost every one of those people, all the way down the funnel, go to the internet at the end of the day to, you know, shop or make a purchase or determine who they're going to buy from. Most of the time, more and more often, you know, these days particularly. So, in a way, you can skip all of that although there's a bit of a danger in that as well. And you can put all your money into AdWords, which is what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. So AdWords, we've got a large number of products. So we've got thousands of products across 5 or 6 major categories, all under the tag of business equipment and furniture. So there's a single tag, but there's lots of subdivisions in there. So when we go to AdWords, we've got to, for example, cover shelving, racking, office furniture, fit outs, office hire, shop fittings, you name it, and then all the subcategories within there. So with racking, you've got racking, shelving, long span, pallet racking, so many different keywords. So the first thing is obviously you pepper your site and pages of your site and sections of your site with those keywords, obviously, to get a higher ranking and so on. But so we put our money into AdWords because we want to be number one under each of our major categories. So you do a search on AdWords today for any one of the categories that we operate in, you'll see us pop up as number one. Now we're high generically as well. We might be number 1 or number 2 for that search term generically. That used to be a big thing, because we were always number 1 or number 2 generically. We didn't have to worry about AdWords, But along comes Google and they want to make some money. So they start putting categories above the best selections because, the algorithms, within the internet are designed to capture the best result for the search. So if we're number 1 for office furniture, there's a reason for it. We've been around longer, we have more products, or there's some reason more people searching for us, So being number 1 was something we maintained all the time. But then they put paid marketing on top of that, so that made you about number 4, 5 or 6, depending on how many people were paying to advertise that. And then they put Google Maps in there, so that's another 3 or 4. We're number 1 or 2 in Google Maps anyway, generally speaking, and we're 1 or 2 under each category generically. But it's not enough because above you are still 3 or 4 people prepared to pay to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we pay to be number 1 as well. So we're number 1 under AdWords, generally 1 or 2 in Google Maps, and then number 1, 2 or 3 or whatever in for the search term generically. But what we find is no matter where people are looking, they do come. The bottom of the funnel is definitely the internet, and you have to be on there.
One thing that struck me just listening to you, Peter, is when you talked about being on radio, and I can imagine people listening to your conversation and the trust factor building up. So those barbecue people, as you phrased it, I love that phrase, had a trust factor to be able to refer you. Are you finding building the trust factor online a challenge, or is it just a different approach?
Yeah, okay. That is one of the bigger challenges because we use the same advertising in WA for the McLernon's business-based website, and we've retained McLernon's, by the way, just because of this marketing. So many people recognise us as McLernon's, but nobody at the moment recognises, or very few, search for business-based. But what we're trying to do in order to go national is to rebrand ourselves as business-based. The opposite's the same in all the other states. Nobody recognises McLernon's, and business-based is our brand. So for the time being in Perth, we're operating as McLernon's business base in order to have that transition from the old McLernon's to the new business base. So we operate, I think it's about 7 or 8 websites that all have online stores in them. Right? So 6 of those websites are dedicated to one group of products. So one might be safes only, for example. One's chairs and tables only. Another one's office furniture. Another one's business machines. Another one's just shredders. So each of those are fully sites dedicated because you can set those sites up so the keywords and the phrases and so on are within that one website just for that one product. Yeah, most of them eventually lead to business base, which is the central website that has all of those product categories in it. Yeah. Now, so we're marketing those sites Australia-wide, but in a lot of cases, because the name isn't well known yet, you get a lot less return for your expenditure in AdWords in other states than you do in WA. Just because that's got to come down to knowing the brand, being local, or and which all adds up to trust. Yeah. If you don't have a premise in the state, you're not as trustworthy as someone who actually has some skin in the game and has a branch here. That's why we're putting a branch in every state. together with our marketing and online stores. Yeah.
I'm conscious of your time on this one. You've just said something really interesting. I think it's worth touching on just as we wrap up this section.
Sure.
You've done individual sites for some individual specialised products.
Yeah.
Is that to give the visitor of that site the impression that they know everything about safe? If you want safe, you come
Yes.
here. Is
Yeah.
it to build that?
Yeah. Most of those sites have a warehouse, so we have safe warehouse, chair warehouse, and so on. Yeah. Okay. So, say the one dedicated to shredders, it's quite a popular site because we can put a lot of information in there and just design the whole site to suit just shredders. You know, one product. I think it does build up the trust factor. We can put things in there like you know, how to select the right shredder. You know, what's the result? How many? You know, how fine is the shredding? You know, brands, price, effectiveness, security. All of those issues can be fully discussed within that site, and it does bring people there just to have a look, to make a selection. You know, to think about what shredder they might be most useful for them.
So you're still keeping to the McLernon style of educating people.
Yeah. Well, you know, we as I said, we don't want to be just selling people something. We want to be, you know, providing the best product, you know, and the best advice for that product, and be part of the business community. Yep.
Well, there we go. Peter McLernon, the difference between marketing and advertising. That was really good actually going to his offices there, Gerard.
The advantage we have is that we can go to people's businesses and see how they do things as well.
Yes.
And I always steal with my eyes to see what you can use in your own business.